Madam Chairperson, Mrs. Antoinette Richards, Miss Maka, I don't want to try to pronounce it, Miss Michaela, other members from our sister organizations and sister states, our distinguished guests, good afternoon. This is afternoon, yes. It's my pleasure to be here this afternoon to give the perspective of the National Training Agency and the importance of the agency itself in considering how to harness labor migration for development. So far, we see where our presentations have been very insightful and very educational for us as a National Training Agency. We have seen where migration has been a constant factor in the shaping of our post-plantation economy and society. At our core, we are industrious and entrepreneurial people who will always seek out opportunities for personal prosperity and economic well-being for our families and our loved ones. We see this in the Windrush generation of the 1950s, who left the comforts of home in Jamaica to make that rough journey on the banana boats to participate in the rebuilding of England after World War II. We also see it in the many Jamaicans who contributed their skills and ingenuity to the construction of the Panama Canal. Fast forward to the 1980s and 90s, we see the informal commercial importers, those that we call the higglers, who migrated back and forth in search of a better life. Jamaicans have always been on the move. HEART, as a national training agency, was created in 1982 by our then visionary Prime Minister, the most honorable, I should say past, Edward Seaga, who at that time the country was experiencing a massive movement and migration, which was characterized by a severe brain drain that is estimated to have robbed us as a country of as much as 70% of our middle class, and by extension, much of our skilled professionals. Conservative estimates offered by the Nation's Encyclopedia and Americas claim that 276,200 Jamaicans left the island between 1971 and 1980, and 142,000 of those went to the United States. When we count the cost of migration, labor migration, and the impact over the years on our economy, we may refer to a working paper released by the IMF in February 2006, which posited that the Caribbean region lost 70% of its workforce to immigration and brain drain. The paper went on to cite that the migration rate is particularly high for the highly skilled with more than 12 years of completed schooling. In drawing a parallel, the IMF working paper went on to list the Caribbean region as the world's largest recipient of remittances as a percentage of our gross domestic product. In our Jamaican context, we continue to receive high remittances into our economy from the diaspora, which is a good thing because it keeps our families and loved ones afloat. Yet, we might ask the question, what if we had retained the brain and skills of our labor force of the 1970s and 80s? What would our economy and society look like today? But then I submit that this is a matter for our historians and economists, some of you who are in the room with us here today. For us at HEART, we have to live and operate in the moment of our present realities mindful of our purpose and commitment to the Jamaican labor market. We see ourselves today as we were conceived nearly 37 years ago as an economic driver for Jamaica's development. As the basic constituents level of our work is about providing skilled and certified labor to energize Jamaican industries and enterprise. Over time, it's about equipping our human resource assets and getting all members of our nearly 1.4 million. Ultimately, it's about making our human resource, whether at home or in the diaspora, the cornerstone of the national drive to achieve socioeconomic growth and develop nation status. This, I say, is easier said than done. Yet, I remain convinced that human business or industries and the economy can grow by the value created by educated, trained, and certified workers and volunteers. And so, HEART has a lot of load to carry and many things to do in the context of the strategic development of a workforce for the global market. Our visionary goal of helping all working age and retired Jamaicans to maximize their potential for work, volunteerism, mentorship, and national service is in direct alignment with the Vision 2030 National Development Plan. We are also seeking to practically align our strategies and actions with the 10 human capital development initiatives articulated in the Economic Growth Council's Call to Action mandate. Allow me, in the next few minutes, to share the 10 specific actions we have undertaken in collaboration with the Economic Growth Council. The first ECG initiative speaks to ensuring educational and training programs are aligned to labor market information and intelligence to arrest the mismatch between competencies demanded by industry employees and those supplied by the education and training system. HEART's response to this is where we have 97% of all our training programs aligned to the eight of the 9 Vision 2030 priority sectors in the training system, with mining and quarrying recording enrollment for the very first time. And I said mining and quarrying recording enrollment for the very first time, because we have now as the National Training Agency, we have now ventured into the mining and quarrying area, and currently we have persons out of the diaspora working with us. And for this week, the next 2 weeks, we have training of instructors both from the Ministry of Education, the Caribbean Maritime Institute, and HEART Trust NTA, being trained as trainers in quarrying and mining, and also railroad track maintenance and repairs. So once we have completed those, we will now put into process these what we call future skills and commence training for those persons. For the 2018-2019 financial year, 56% of our training enrollment focused on services. 26% of this focused on tourism, 17% on the ICT sector, and another 11% on other services areas that we train. We also had 9,449 persons enrolled across the sectors that speaks to construction, creative industries, manufacturing, and mining and quarrying. The second area out of the Economic Growth Council speaks to us creating a national repository of labor market information and intelligence. What we have done in the trust is that we have now developed a job portal to connect our certified graduates of the training system with the employers that are out there. We know there exists a portal in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, so we are now actively linking the two portals, so we have that seamless opportunity for employers to go to either portal to see the persons who are certified and ready for employment. Thirdly, create an inclusive mechanism to allow for the sharing of education and training information and intelligence by institution. We are actively developing MOUs with both private and public education systems for us to be able to share and supply labor statistics to persons in the system. We look at ensuring educational financing through loans, incentive, and grants to support labor market-driven programs aligned to the economic development and growth agenda. This here is where the trust funds labor market-driven programs, including training subsidies for the business process outsourcing. To date, we are currently subsidizing 5 of our BPO firms with training subsidies, and we are currently in discussion with another 5 to move that forward. What this will allow us to do is to now move the training away from the BPO into the areas that speaks to the KPOs. Increase access to training and certification, especially to the areas of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The trust last year, 2018-2019, made allowances through a subvention to the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information of Jamaican $820 million for the career advancement and STEM-related programs. We also made available 200 million Jamaican dollars to the Caribbean Maritime University for STEM-related programs. In upgrading and expanding work-based learning and the apprenticeship program, we continue to work to expand the apprenticeship program. Last year, we were able to place 1,551 persons in apprenticeship. From the Hope Summer Youth Program, we were able to train and place 16,656 persons. For persons with disabilities, we were able to train and place 367. For persons from the tertiary institutions who have graduated and not able to find immediate employment, we were able to assist 145 of those persons through the Graduate Work Experience Program, and another 777 who came to us to place 777 of those in full-time employment. In the area of developing strategies to aggressively increase patenting research and development, the organization recognizes a lack of expertise in that area. So we are now actively partnering with other agencies, other universities to do our MSMEs and to do our grant funding. In 2017 to 2018, through our grant funding, we expended $9.4 million in grant funding to small businesses. Last year, we expended an additional $25 million and currently awaiting 150 trainees of 100,000 each. In developing a national training strategy, I think by this, most of us as Jamaicans know that the company HEART is in transition. we are now merging with the National Youth Service, Jamaican Foundation for Lifelong Learning, and the Apprenticeship Board. As the legal aspect of the merger will be done before the end of this, not financial, but this calendar year, we have been able to have the amended act placed in Parliament, so the next process is for us to move it through the Cabinet and the Senate for final approval. Ladies and gentlemen, let me reiterate that labor migration is indeed a reality in our times. As the National Training Agency, we are obligated to put mechanisms in place to equip as many of our citizens to make the best of themselves wherever they go and wherever they live. This is yet another critical strategy of the agency that has been the expansion of our partnerships, both locally and internationally, for emerging skills and dual certification to make our graduates globally mobile. In our interconnected world of cross-border work, trade and commerce, one of the agency's near to medium-term goal is to implement digital credentialing regime to increase the global appeal and mobility of our graduates, and over time, to reduce the need for printed certificates. This cutting-edge mode of securing important qualification, like our NVQ, is becoming more commonplace among our educational institutions, employers, and job seekers, and it is our intention to construct a robust platform for digital credentialing in the national training system. HEART is also engaged in the training and certification of at least 1,000 household workers for portability across the Caribbean single market economy. A partnership with the Carpenters Union of Canada to provide 200 apprentices in carpentry for the Canadian market. HEART is also funding more of its trainees to sit the City and Guilds mathematics and English exams to enhance their value in the job market, locally and internationally. We have doubled the registration of HEART trainees for the June 2020 exams. We started a pilot program for the 1920 financial year. We had 1,000 of our students sitting the exam, and I'm proud to say that with the work that was put in by our facilitators, the students came out with a 92% pass rate in their math and English City and Guilds exam. Now these are students, and these were all at the proficiency level. Now these are students who came to us without CSEC or any subjects at all. And we found it necessary to equip them with this kind of certification so we can enhance their value as they go into the market. The job portal of certified graduates is the quality standards. Given the growing demand in the global service sector, we are ramping up our BPO training up the value chain, moving away from the lower level business process outsourcing to the knowledge process outsourcing. We're targeting the legal, medical, and information technology by redefining its training philosophy and practice. We are becoming more than a training entity. We are becoming, or we have become, the driver for economic growth, social inclusion, and national development. All our training HEART is being aligned with the national development priorities for human capital development. We're deepening our partnerships with Jamaican businesses to expand training and certification for high levels of performance and productivity. To be more responsive to our dynamic labor market, we're moving to be more responsive, agile, in our training and certification for the labor force. We want to reduce the time spent in institutions and improve the prospects for employment by learners by placing them as quickly as possible in the work environment as apprentices. We are also promoting the value of decent work with the implementation of a mobile assessment unit where persons who are currently working or persons who are in the deep rural communities and not able to access our services for assessment and certification, our mobile unit will come to you. Wherever you are in Jamaica, our mobile unit will come to you to do your assessments, and we have a 40-day turnaround period where we get your certificates to you. We started this in February of this year, and to date, we have assessed and certified over 2,000 persons who are either working with the skills and not certified, or having the skills, not employed, and sitting in their communities, unable to access employment. So as we continue to promote decent work and occupational certification for all our stakeholders, I just want to say to all of us here that HEART Trust NTA, the Human Capital Development Agency of Jamaica, stands ready, and we are available wherever you are. Make contact with us. Our website is up and going. We have our job portal. We have our offices, and just to say that we have 4 regions. Very shortly, we will be moving to 6 regions and 14 parish offices. So if you are in St. Mary, you don't have to come down to St. Anne to get an office anymore. That as we build the human capital, we are ensuring that our young people become trained and certified and ready for the job opportunities that will come. Thank you.